Uh, you know what? Naps during festivals are essential. And I can say that I didn't do it, but it did save some people's lives back in the Lollapalooza days when I was there. I had a roommate who somebody brought their kids to this one, and just before the Beastie Boys came on, I think L7 had gone off, and the pit opened up on the field at that point. And I had to get this was my roommate, Scott, who had passed out, and these kids were building a mud castle next to his head and around his head. And I was watching L7, not paying attention. I turned down, he's on his back asleep, and I passed out. And there was a magazine that came, if you went to Lollapalooza, it was called Teeth, and I threw it on top of him. And so his head is part of a mud castle created by, toddlers. And, I don't know why parents brought kids to this thing, little kids, but I had to save him because then the pit opened up when the Beastie Boys hit. And he woke up like he had like 12 hours of sleep, and he was ready to roll again.
Yeah.
He had to get the mud off his head, and he never forgave me for the pictures I took. But
I'd like to see those someday.
Oh, I got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They may make the internet at some point because he has resurfaced into my life. I have to throw back here to another another Rob Zombie thing. This is another soundtrack, but an unlikely one. And I love when people accessorize physical objects from their stories. That are still fictitious. In The Devil's Rejects, you should be familiar with the characters Banjo and Sullivan. Mm-hmm. They are the band that literally destroyed by The Devil's Rejects. Well, they had an actual album. I'm holding it. Banjo and Sullivan, The Ultimate Collection, 1972 to 78. On the back, it says, "Rest in Peace." It has, I love this, right inside the cover here. Here, read the inside cover to Banjo and Sullivan. Right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Where it says Adam Banjo, 1942 to 1978, and Roy Sullivan, 1910 to 1978. Rest in peace. That's the year I was born.
Oh, boy.
78.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the year they died in the movie. And those two guys, one did pass away. Lewis, Ed Lewis? I forget his name, but he was a country music singer. You guys would know him from, if you're horror fans, he originally in Salem's Lot. He was in that, and he played Orville in Any Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can. But he is also Juliette Lewis's father. Right there, yeah. And the guy that plays Roy, is it Roy? Which the blonde-haired guy is in Walking Dead. He has half his face burned off. He plays Dwight.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't make the connection there.
Yep, that's him. Banjo and Sullivan. But it's country music. And about a dead fake band. From a dead fake band. But the music's great. It's like rock and roll country. It's so good. And I can thank Rob for that one. Mr. Rob Zombie himself. And let's see here. Oh, did you see this one? This is a 50-50 shot where soundtrack and movie are excellent.
I saw the movie when it was released, Montage of Heck. And I thought it was really good. I think... I can't remember who, but somebody said it was all not done very well. One of the people from that era, maybe Buzz from the Melvins,
probably,
or somebody that was familiar with them, in person. But
well, there's Kurt and Courtney also. If you watch all the movies about him, and you just kind of listen to every side of it, you make your own version up. What else can you say? But the soundtrack is amazing. And the movie, just draw your own conclusions there. I don't believe Courtney killed him, but she certainly didn't help him. Definitely not the person you want in your life if you're a recovering addict.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed that one. But yeah, let's move along here with these soundtracks. Demon Knight, I absolutely adore this soundtrack. Demon Knight, of course, was Tales from the Crypt film. Great movie. And you got Cemetery Gates, of course, from Pantera. Tonight We Murder by Ministry. Love that one. My Misery, which I love, Machine Head. And I discovered them with this film. And this goes back near, mid-90s, Demon Knight?
Yep.
As their first album. They were out then.
93 maybe that came out?
Yep. And, man, there's just so many good bands on here. The Melvins are on this one, on Demon Knight. I forgot about it. They were on that. Let's see here. We got the Rollins Band and Biohazard, Sepultura, and of course, Hey Man, Nice Shot made it onto that soundtrack by Patrick, Richie Patrick, one of our favorites around here, who we are trying to get on the show. Yes. I know you've solicited, I have too. Mm-hmm. Cross your fingers, folks. But yeah, man, Demon Knight, I give that 2 thumbs up. I really like the movie and I love the soundtrack. So I don't know. Where are you with this one? I know you're familiar with it.
Oh, Natural Born Killers. Yeah, movie by Oliver Stone and the soundtrack by Trent Reznor.
Indeed.
A local boy.
Yes. He's from an hour north of us up in the Mercer County area.
Yeah, this soundtrack actually has one of my favorite Nine Inch Nails songs, "Burn."
Yeah, it's great.
I love that song.
That's great.
And I'm trying to think what else is.
Oh, it's fun. Natural Born Killers. And that's weird. Lewis is in that. Juliette Lewis is in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean she plays the evil counterpart.
Didn't she have a band too?
I think so.
She did.
I know some of those you guys out there will correct us on that, but if you could actually help us out and find out that band, I'd like to know.
A lot of great artists on here: Peter Gabriel, Patsy Cline, Nine Inch Nails, Bob Dylan, Cowboy Junkies, Patti Smith, Dan Zanes, L7's on here, Leonard Cohen. A lot of good stuff.
L7 has another album out or coming out. They released some tracks. They did a show in Europe recently that blew everybody out of the water. Apparently, they still got it. So I look forward to the resurgence of L7 and their new album. I heard one song and I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Let's see. Oh, and speaking of festivals, I went to Picklesburg. The Pickles Fest. And you told me somebody else was there and we may have crossed paths.
Yeah, originally I was going to go to it, actually. And I was going to go with my wife and another couple that it's actually her friend and her husband now. But the husband decided not to go, so they made it a girls' trip, and my wife actually went to that.
And did they uninvited you?
Yeah, I was uninvited. Yeah.
Well, I made it out there. It was one of my first outings after getting out of the hospital. God, that sounds terrible. But it was fun. It was on the Roberto Clemente Bridge.
A lot of people, I heard.
A lot of people, a lot of pickles.
Yeah.
Different kinds of pickles. I had a pickle dipped that was soaked in maple syrup and whiskey. And then there was another one that had somehow they got a stick of provolone inside the pickle and wrapped it in bacon. Yeah.
My wife has a picture she took that I haven't seen yet, but she says she has it, of there's a big pickle over top of her head in the picture.
I know the picture.
And she was reaching up, tickling the pickle.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. We didn't think to do that. It was hard to get under that dumb pickle. Anyway, Picklesburg, hey, I got the T-shirt. It was fun. I didn't booze that day. No beer for me. I was, again, out of the hospital, straight jacket and all that shit. That was a lie. No straight jacket.
How about pickle juice?
Pickle juice, they did, yes. Ms. D tried it. Yeah, and you could also buy shots of pickle juice if you wanted to partake. It was pickle juice and vodka, I think.
That's disgusting.
It sounds awful, and from the looks on people's faces, it was that. Yeah, I know we're all over the place here today, folks, but that's how it is when we're unfocused and having a good time. Caffeinated, yes, very caffeinated here. And the Picklesburg was really funny because the shirt I'm wearing, this is where I was going with it. I'm wearing my Slayer shirt, like I said earlier. And at Picklesburg, as I'm walking through the crowd, somebody just screamed, "Slayer!" Oh. I was like, "Slayer!" We just walked by, just two cars passing in the night, and sure enough, the guy had his shirt on too. And Slayer! Even at a Pickles festival, there are Slayer fans, rabid Slayer fans.
I remember after that Slayer show, my brother and I went to Sheetz afterwards, probably an hour away from the show, and
we did too.
There were all kinds of Slayer fans in there, wearing their Slayer shirts or wearing whatever, and everybody, as they come in and as they leave, every time somebody came in, every time they left, Slayer!
Exactly.
Slayer!
And Sheetz, for all you non-Pittsburghers or Pennsylvanians, is a Pennsylvania branch of like a, what do you want to call it, like a made-to-order 7-Eleven type stuff.
Yeah.
But that's where the drunks go, and yeah, I was a regular.
Me too.
Oh, fun times. Yeah, we ended up at a Sheets too. This next one, Pulp Fiction, classic, fantastic film. Depending on your tastes, I think the soundtrack is a very, very good one. Oh, wow, the Statler Brothers were on this. Flowers on the Wall. I do like that song. Let's see. I really wasn't a fan of Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon because it got killed. That was Urge Overkill.
Mm-hmm.
And they were expected when I was in college to be like the next big thing. They really just had like 2 songs.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened after that, and they had a horrible video. But yeah, I don't know. Then you got like Kool and the Gang, Jungle Boogie. Al Green made it to the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. Let's Stay Together. Chuck Berry, You Never Can Tell. And yes, that's the CD. I own this. I just forgot about it. I forgot what was on this. What the heck? Royale with Cheese. They actually have the explanation on there. Hilarious. Anything on there that appeals to you? So I'm about to get to one. There's this one that I didn't like. I'm trying to think there. I keep talking about things
Ricky
I like.
Nelson, Dusty Springfield. I like them.
There's some hateful soundtracks out there too. But yeah, I should.
A lot of good stuff on here.
Back in the 90s, the Crow soundtrack was the shit.
Oh yeah.
The original, and then the second one wasn't bad. It was better than the movie. But the Crow
The movie was okay.
The second one, Iggy Pop, it was okay.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack was better,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But the original Crow soundtrack, 50-50 shot right there. You got 100% greatness, movie and soundtrack.
Yeah. There's a recreated version of My Life with a Thrill Kill cult song on there called After the Flesh that they did. Yes. That is like they played live in that in the club scene in that.
Love that. Yeah, when they shoot things up.
That's a great song. And the Cure song that's on there, also called Burn. That's one of my favorite Cure songs ever written.
It's fantastic. I love it. Yes, it is great. I'm going to hand you this one here because you may have missed those along the way.
I saw that movie.
The soundtrack will blow you away.
Yeah, let's see what's on here.
You should tell them what you're looking at.
Yeah, so this is the Faculty soundtrack. It's about an alien invasion in a local town and a bunch of high schoolers. And
Robert Patrick is in it, Richie's brother.
Yeah,
you guys would know him as T2000, T1000. What the hell was he called in the second Terminator?
Yeah, the Terminator.
He was
T1000.
T1000. He was the liquid Terminator.
Yeah, so there's, let's see, the class of 99 made up of Lane Staley from Alice in Chains.
That's so good.
Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. Stephen Perkins. He was good. From
Jane's Addiction.
Jane's Addiction, yeah. Martin Lenoble and Matt Serletic. I don't know those guys, but The Offspring's on here.
Well, the class of, what is it?
99.
99, they do Another Brick
in the Wall.
Fucking amazing version of it. It's heavy. It's good.
And then Creed. I was not a fan of Creed.
No. Scott Stapp. No.
Soul Asylum. I like them.
Oh, they're great. I just listened to David Perner do an interview because he just did a show with Collective Soul. I guess they're doing like a double bill. Soul Asylum, and they're opening up, I should say. It's not a double bill.
Yeah.
They're opening, and they only do 6 songs, and they're hard pressed to pick what to play because they had like more than 6 hits.
Yeah.
But they have a huge catalog on top of that. So they play the 6 songs you'd expect them to play, but they change it up every night and throw in an old one too. Because they were around longer than you think. Soul Asylum.
Yeah.
They weren't all about the runaway trains.
Early 80s, late 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go back to, and earlier stuff that David Perner even said that he was embarrassed of, but because they were a little punkier before they branched out. But he said, he was just like, yeah, some of it sounds like shit. But he's still proud of it. And he's a funny dude. If you ever listen to him talk, oh my God. He's an amazing dude. But
you know who's a funny guy that I like to listen to talk that does stand up is Henry Rollins.
Oh God, yeah, he's
Black Flag.
Oh yeah, Black Flag. But he just has Rollins band. Yes, and he had his own show.
I just watched his show on Showtime. Did you see that?
It's great.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yes, but he had a show prior to that I forget what channel he was on, where he would just interview people, and it was so good. It only ran for like a season or two.
Yeah, I think he still does that. I think
Good.
he writes for, I want to say it's the LA Weekly or something like that, and he also has a show that he does interviews. It's a podcast, kind of like this one, but Garbage is on the Faculty soundtrack.
Yes, they are.
Love Garbage.
Yeah,
One of my favorite bands. And
Shirley Manson.
Stabbing Westward.
Yes.
They just got back together.
Which song is that on Stabbing Westward does on the Faculty soundtrack?
Haunting Me.
Yeah, that's good. That's also on an album, though.
Darkest Days, I think.
Yeah. I don't know how to...
Cheryl Crow.
Yeah, I have a thing for Sheryl Crow, too. Mm-hmm. I saw her live. Really good. Mm-hmm. Really good rock and roll, man. Plays a mean bass. Oh. And she plays it standing on top of a piano that she also played.
Really?
Yeah, she was very good live. I saw her at Jones Beach on Long Island, and with Train and a couple of reggae bands. And I have to admit, Train was good. I Drops of Jupiter, we all know that.
Yeah.
But they're a pretty happening rock band, like live. I was surprised at how good they were. I mean, me being a metalhead, I was taken aback. Like, maybe I underestimated these guys. Fuel is another band like that, or that I underestimated. I go back, I own the first album, and what a great re-listen. That's a band that ended too early, as far as I'm concerned. And I've been trying to find out what happened to that lead singer. If you remember, they did that show where they tried to pick a lead singer for Fuel. And they got it. I think they did an album together. Nothing else really happened. But I don't know what happened to the original lead singer. If he just bowed out gracefully or didn't want to do it, lost his voice, drugs. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I never followed that band.
I didn't really follow. Like I said, I had the album because it was one of those like Columbia House where you got a bunch of free shit. And years later, I went back and listened to it. I worked for a certain corporation, I'll just say, and there was a girl that worked there that was like one of those, like, I guess, dancers in the club that they pay to dance on a pole at Metropole. They danced in cages and shit.
Oh yeah.
And she was one of those, and she liked Fuel, and I was just like, really? Like, this is what you? Because she was into orgy and all these danceable things, and she's like, no, Dave, you need to listen to Fuel, because if you're a Def Leppard fan, and I am of old, first 3 albums,
I care.
Maybe 4 if you're into Hysteria. Love old Def Leppard.
I love that album. Well,
she compared them, the charisma of Joe Elliott and Def Leppard live. That's how Fuel was. They pulled you right in. But here I am talking about Fuel, and they're not even on a soundtrack that I have right now. It's so bizarre where I'm going with this. But this is kind of funny. This is something that millennials don't run into. Not too often. Right here, okay? So the End of Days soundtrack, I have the cassette here. This movie sucked really bad.
I thought it was good.
All right, I'll go back and watch it.
You know why I like it?
But
I'll tell you why. You go ahead and I'll tell you
I'm just saying, the soundtrack, Korn, Everlast, Professional Murder Music, which I really enjoy. Limp Bizkit, Guns N' Roses, Prodigy, Rob Zombie, Eminem, Power Man 5000 got there. Sonic Youth, Creed. But a lot of this stuff is really good. This is a great soundtrack. I hated the movie. But
I actually like this movie, and another reason why I like the movie was Kevin Key from Skinny Puppy did a lot of the creepy sounds that are throughout the movie, and Arnold Schwarzenegger actually called him the Scaremeister. And he has a album that is called, you could download it, but you can also go to his site and you could buy it. It's music snippets that were produced for film that he actually called it Scaremeister. So it's him and his engineer they work with, Ken Highwatt. He's known as Highwatt. He's also he himself is in a band, but I can't think of the name of it right now. But yeah, Scaremeister.
Well, you're re-educating me here. Now maybe I need to go back and give End of Days another watch.
Yeah, but I thought the film was good. I mean,
what is wrong with you all? I don't understand what is happening.
All right. Not as good as, say, like, what was the other film that was filmed during that time that had, it was filmed at...
Little Nicky?
Well, no. That's a good... I love that movie. A lot of people hate that movie. I think it's good.
In it. That's what yeah, man. But what I was getting at earlier, the problem that millennials don't have is I opened my jewel case here for the CD for End of Days, and the CD's not in there. What's in there, because this is where my mind was, Les Claypool of Wales and Woe. Somehow that got its way in here, and when I open up my Les Claypool actual CD, End of Days in there. So God knows what I was doing the day that I mixed up these two CDs.
Oh, I know what it was. Stigmata. You ever see that movie?
No, but I just dropped that. Stigmata, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
What's her face? That was one of the...
She was in Little Nicky. I can't think of her name.
She's one of the Arquettes.
Yeah.
She was
Patricia Arquette.
Patricia Arquette, yeah. And she, well, we would know her from Freddie days too, way back when, I think. God, it's been a while. Anyway, I'm gonna put my Primus CD where it belongs. After it's probably been sitting here for about 18 years, and I'm putting. Oh, I almost did it again. Look at that. Look what I did. End of Day. Put that in the jewel case for End of Days. And here, Les Claypool, get into your damn cover. All right, now let's see here. Moving on. Good movie, decent soundtrack. The X-Files, Fight the Future. Once again, who got on here? A lot of our favorites. I'm surprised at some of these that got on here, but I love Filter's version of One by Three Dog Night.
Oh, yeah, that's a great interpretation.
And I've seen Three Dog Night 3 times live while they were all still alive.
You know, I want to say that I did see Three Dog Night. My parents, and I think I mentioned this before, they used to take us 3WS locally here. Was it 94.5?
That sounds right.
3WS.
I'm not from here, but I remember that.
They used to have these concerts in the summer where a lot of bands like the Four Seasons and Chubby Checker and like all those old like 40s and 50s bands like the Temptations and you know, just a lot of bands like that. They would go and they took us to those shows, and we listened to a lot of Three Dog Night was one of those bands that we got to see.
That's awesome.
As children, we got, you know,
and they were good. It's a good nostalgia, good stuff I grew up listening to at my dad's 45s, and then he decided to actually take me to see them at Westbury Music Fair on Long Island, which is a great place in the round, exclusive theater. Now I don't even know if you get tickets to get in there anymore, but we saw them every time they came, and that was 3 times. So. Very cool. Oh man, here's one that there's some controversy on this one. This is what you call debatable. That's right, debatable. Strangeland, D. Snyder.
Are you fucking serious?
I love the soundtrack.
I remember when this movie was coming out, and I thought that it was going to be good, and I don't think I was a fan of this movie. I don't really remember it, but I think I remember it not being good. But the soundtrack, I mean, listen to this. Well, D. Snyder, I mean, of course, D. Snyder's a great artist musically.
Just sold all his Twisted Sister rights.
He did?
Yeah, and he's focusing on just his new stuff. Yeah, he's coming here, or he came here already. But anyway, go ahead.
So, Seven Dust, Megadeth, Pantera, Anthrax.
Oh yeah.
Snot. I don't think I ever heard of that.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, that guy died. The lead singer died. That's what that song's about. Angels. Seven Dust did that song. Angel. Oh God, the Angels song. I can't think of it now. But when he died, he was. They were huge. Snot. They were supposed to be the next big thing, but he died.
Coal Chamber.
I love them. That's a great song on there.
Bile. I love Bile.
Love Bile. Oh my God, what's the last album they put out? It was like this huge comeback. Hate Radio.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Bile's so good. That song, what's the song again? It's so good. The Bile.
In League.
Love that tune. Love that tune.
Marilyn Manson, Soulfly, Head PE, Kid Rock.
Man.
The Clay People. I think I remember.
Good.
That.
Oh, you'd like Clay People. That's a good throwback if you're an industrial fan. They really weren't an industrial band, but they get put into that slot.
Yeah.
Very gruff vocals, heavy guitars, but not noisy. Like some industrial or some death metal is, they weren't either. Or both, the way you look at it. I don't know. Clay People are just good.
System of a Down's on here. Nashville Pussy.
There you go. Yeah.
Twisted Sister. Yeah, it's great.
It's so weird. Now, the real controversy comes in here. Most people hate that movie, but the people that love it really love it. My friend Christine Starkey, this is one of her favorite movies of all time. You met Christine, right? Did you meet Christine?
I can't remember.
Well, she's in the movie. She's in the movie The Other Side. She was the leading lady, and she's been on here a lot. Christine, great girl. But this is one of her favorite movies, and I understand why. If you see the movie, how it takes a complete reverse, the killer becomes the hero. Like he gets brainwashed into becoming a good guy, forgetting what he used to be, and it's a role reversal. I mean, it's not well executed, poorly executed, but fun. Yeah. And I'm not gonna say I love this movie. I love the soundtrack. Yeah. And the movie is just something you need to see at some point. And if you like Dee Snider, you'll love the movie. This next one, I'm not a real big fan of the movie or the soundtrack, even though they're both supposed to be my time period. I was into much heavier shit than this. Going back, it's really good. It's a good soundtrack, and the movie's decent.
I don't remember the soundtrack, but I do remember the movie, and I liked it. Grosse Point Blank. Yeah. With John Cusack and Minnie Driver. Yeah.
Minnie Monkey Driver. I used to call her Monkey Face because she has little pudgy cheeks.
There's actually some really good stuff on here, though.